My sister started behaving weirdly, and no one has explanation for her behavior. But before I start, follow me now. It all began with our move into the new apartment. It wasn't exactly ours, being a rental and all, but it might as well have been, considering the sheer joy it brought us. It felt like we were marking a milestone, buying our first place, even though we weren't. It was just me and my sister, let's call her Bella for privacy's sake. The thought of her turning into a spectacle for documentary makers and eager bloggers is something I can't bear. Bella is my sister, not an exhibit. Our relocation was fueled by an uncontainable excitement. For the first time, we were stepping out from under our parents' protective wing, tasting the sweet nectar of independence we'd longed for. The possibilities seemed endless, and our dreams, boundless. But one evening, upon my return from work, the atmosphere shifted drastically. It was odd seeing Bella home before me. Her work usually ended later, and she hadn't mentioned any change in schedule. Yet, there she was, sitting in her room, her gaze fixed on the wall, unblinking, motionless. It was as if time had frozen around her, and a sense of unease quickly took hold of me. I called her name, but she didn't respond, didn't even flinch. My hands trembled as I reached out to gently shake her, hoping to snap her out of whatever trance she was in. It was futile. She remained as still as a statue, ignoring my pleas, my screams for her to look at me. Then, abruptly, she did. Her eyes bloodshot, her complexion paler than I'd ever seen. In a voice softer than a whisper, she told me to leave, to get out. I retreated, confused and scared, leaving her alone as she requested. That night, sleep eluded me. My mind was a battleground, fear clashing with concern. I felt cowardly, paralyzed by the unknown. In my desperation, I turned to the internet, searching for any explanation that could shed light on Bella's condition. Suggestions ranged from trauma to mental disorders, even demonic possession. That last possibility chilled me to the core, yet I couldn't dismiss it, not entirely. It was as if something within Bella had irrevocably changed. The next day, Bella didn't go to work. I learned she had quit her job the day before. Before I could process this shock, I was jolted by her screams emanating from her room. Rushing to her, I found nothing had physically harmed her. She had simply shifted her unsettling stare from the wall to the window. Her screams eventually ceased, only for her to start hitting herself with a force that seemed beyond her. Despite my tears and pleas, she only stopped to glare at me, sending shivers down my spine. I reached out to our parents, following their advice to leave the apartment immediately. Convincing Bella to leave was a Herculean task. She resisted every step of the way, but I was adamant. Back home, she remained silent, unresponsive to our parents' attempts to communicate. Psychiatrists and even a shaman were consulted, the latter fleeing in terror upon seeing her. 2 months have passed since that day, and Bella's condition remains unchanged. She barely sleeps, hardly eats, and communicates less. Today, I found mysterious scratches on her arm, too precise to be self-inflicted. Despite everything, there seems to be no logical explanation for her state. No history of paranormal activity tied to the apartment, no known catalyst for this dramatic shift. As I document this, my heart is heavy with worry for Bella. The fear of losing her is unbearable. I'm left wondering how much worse things might get, clinging to the hope of finding a solution that could bring my sister back to me. Be prepared, because the story I'm presenting to you tomorrow will surprise you.